We're almost near the end of February, and I don't know if this is true around the world, but in this country, February, it's pronounced February, not February. That's one of my pet peeves, which is not what my subject is. We celebrate Valentine's Day. And Valentine's Day is about romantic love, which is lovely if you're in a couple. If you're not, sometimes you can feel kind of left out. And I think sometimes people who are in couples who aren't doing too well, that it can be a source of irritation maybe, or sadness. So it's kind of an odd holiday because it seems like there's a certain percentage of people who love to celebrate it and then other people who are not so sure. So some time ago, I started seeing PR about Galentine's Day, which is women who get together and celebrate their friendship. I don't know if men have something similar. It should be called Palentine's Day. I thought the same thing. I've never seen any PR about that. I guess that's Super Bowl Sunday is Valentine's Day. So what's interesting is that in our language, we have one word for love. You've probably heard that a similar idea that in our culture, we have one word for snow, and in Eskimo cultures, there's multiple names because there are many different ways that snow can manifest. Well, the Greeks had 7 different words for love that I think are very informative because they help us to understand more clearly all of the ways that love can express itself. And you know, it's kind of interesting that this word love we apply to relationships, but we also apply to things like, I love chocolate, I love when it's sunny outside. Well, the Greeks described eros, which is romantic, passionate love, which is where the word erotic comes from. And that's usually kind of the focus on Valentine's Day, is that kind of love. Philia, which is authentic friendship. So you've probably heard that Philadelphia means the city of brotherly love. That comes from that philia. Or like a bibliophile, the phile in the end of that means a lover of books. Ludus, which I had never heard of before, is playful, affectionate love. And I think the reason I've never heard of it is that people sometimes kind of leapfrog over that. Like you get to know somebody, and maybe in the beginning there's this playful affection, and then you jump from that into, you know, a serious relationship. But it doesn't have to just be in romantic relationships. Like children have that kind of affectionate playfulness. Friends can banter with each other or be affectionate. Then there's storge, I believe is how it's pronounced, which is family love. Like the love that you have for your parents, your children, your siblings, aunts, uncles, whatever blood family you have. Philatia, which is self-love, and there's a lot of talk about that in the metaphysical community. Like you have to love yourself before you can love other people. In my opinion and experience, I think it's the other way around. That through loving other people, that's how we discover the love we have inside of ourselves. So it's kind of like what Beth was saying about, you know, how the brain lights up when you give to other people. If you eat all the candy yourself and then don't have any left to give to your friends, how are you going to learn how to love your friends? You give the candy to your friends and realize how good that feels, and that this love bubbles up inside because you have shared it with someone else. Then there's pragma, which is committed companionate love, which is where the word pragmatic comes from. And agape, you probably have heard about, which is empathetic, universal love, love for humanity, love for the divine. So, you know, are these really different kinds of love, or are they expressions of love? I think part of our challenge in understanding this is we don't really learn what love is. You know, I was thinking about this, and I think it's Journey has that song about, I want to know what love is. Like, most of the love songs are about what love does, like how it makes you feel, or what it does to you when you're in love, or what it does to you when you're in a breakup, but not really what love is. If you read fairy tales, you watch romantic movies, it tells you how to find love, or sometimes how to lose love. Like in the fairy tales, you have to kiss a bunch of toads to be able to find the handsome prince. I can tell some people here have probably done that. So I'd like to turn to holy works to learn about love. A holy work, a scripture, the word holy comes from the word whole. So they inform us about what is our true nature, or the wholeness of our being. And in the Bible, it says, God is love. God is love, and whoever abides in love abides in God, and God abides in him. So if we think about God or source, whatever word you use to describe a power greater than our individual selves, God is creative, and God produces growth. God is the energy of life. So I believe that in our relationships of all kinds, that we grow in love by being creative. So you might think about people you're close to who you have created something together with them. I actually know a couple who've been married for quite a while now. Second marriage for him, first marriage for her, and how they fell in love was refinishing a house together. And oftentimes when people are involved in a creative project, they grow closer to people. It could be in a band with other people, it could be working on a fundraiser with other people, that each person has their own skills, their own talents, whatever their thing is that they bring to that project, and together what they create is greater than what each one could do by themselves. And so that energy of coming together and producing something greater than our individual selves, I really think that that is the essence of love. So if you think about people in your life who you love, probably you want to support them, you want to do what is going to promote their growth. And when you do that, you are being loving. So some of you may be too young to remember this. I know that when I was, I don't know, sometime in my early adulthood, there was a lot of knowledge out about what was called tough love. And I think that came about because there were, I mean, I guess drugs have always been on the horizon, but there was an increase in people who were becoming addicted to drugs. And so the idea of tough love, especially for parents, is that to enable a child who was doing unproductive behaviors was not really loving. You know, and most parents want to take away the pain from their kids. And I actually know some people who had a son who battled with drugs, and they tried all kinds of things to help him. They bailed him out of jail, they got him set up in an apartment, they used their connections to get him a job, and all of those things that they were trying to do to help him were not helping him to help himself, because he misused their goodwill to continue his unproductive behaviors. So then they got to the point of saying, okay, if he gets arrested for this unproductive behavior, we're going to let him stay in jail. And that was called tough love. And some people thought they were horrible. You know, how could you do that? And I talked to the mom one time, and she said that to her, the way that she understands what it means that God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son, she said, I have done everything in my power that I know to do to help my son. And if I knew that by sacrificing my life, it would save him, I would gladly sacrifice my life. And to her, that was the ultimate idea of love, is that she would give every part of her being to help him in whatever way she could. Unfortunately, this not so young man anymore was able to get his life on track, and so he's no longer dealing with the addictions. But the tough part of the tough love was for the parents. It wasn't really for the kid. It was tough for the parents to have to say, okay, we've done everything we know how to do by trying to empower you, giving you money. Now the only way we know how to empower you is to have you be in jail. And you know, I've heard sometimes people say that love is painful, and to me that's kind of crazy, because love is not painful. Love is the most wonderful, fulfilling experience that we can have, because it is our nature, and it comes from our nature of being like our Creator. Every scripture I've read says that we came from a Creator, we were made to be like our Creator, and therefore we have the same attributes of our Creator. So we are essentially loving, we are essentially giving, we are essentially light. And another, I think, misinterpretation that people have is that it also, after it says that we were made to be like our Creator, it says in the Bible, it is not good for man to be alone, I will make a helper suitable for him. Or some versions say help me. And so I've heard people say, okay, that means that we are designed to be in couples. And I think that's a misinterpretation. I think what it's really saying is that in order for us to fully experience the love that we have, we need helpers, we need people in our lives. It doesn't have to be a mate, it could be. It could be a friend. It could be a colleague. It could be the guy who's helping somebody carry their heavy stuff into the building. That all of these people give us opportunities to experience the love that we have. And that urge to love is so powerful that if we cut it off, or if we feel like it's been cut off from us, we experience a deep grief. And that has been my experience of the grief of people close to me who have died. It's, yes, missing that person, but even more so, what do I do with all this love that's inside of me when my father's not there anymore as a kid? What do I do with this love inside of me when the man who I finally found that I wanted to marry passes away after we've only been together a short period of time? Does it mean that I have to have another mate immediately? No, because there's all these people in the world. So the way that I understand why we even have different relationships, you know, we have all kinds of relationships. We have parents, we have kids, we have siblings, we have coworkers, we have colleagues, we have mates. All of those different relationships give us an opportunity to express love in many different manifestations. So have you ever had a prism hanging in a window? Mm-hmm. The light, which is one light, it comes through the prism and then it separates into all the colors of the rainbow. Well, that's how I understand love, is we have this light, love, that comes from Source, God, Creator, whatever you call it. It comes through us, and then we channel it into all of these expressions with all of the people in our lives. And that's why we need to have different kinds of relationships. So I think that the more that we can really understand that, the more we can embrace what the real soulmate is. The soulmate is not another person. And that's part of the problem, I think, with a lot of these romantic movies and fairy tales. You know, there's one person out there who completes me. That doesn't even make sense, because I don't believe that we were made to be incomplete. I believe that we were made to be whole. And so when you have two or whole beings who come together, then you have a greater expression of wholeness. If you have two half beings that come together, then you have what's called codependency, where it's not really healthy. One of my favorite quotes about love is from a philosopher, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, Pierre Teilhard de Chardin, I think is how you pronounce it, who said, "Love alone is capable of uniting living beings in such a way as to complete and fulfill them. For it alone takes them and joins them by what is deepest in themselves." So the soulmate, I believe, is any person who gives us that opportunity to really experience our soul. And it doesn't have to be a romantic partner. It can be anyone who really gives us the space to be who we are. I mean, I don't know about you, but sometimes when there's something I'm wanting to understand in myself and to work out in myself, I do not want or need somebody to give me advice and take away my pain. What I want and need is someone who can be there for me and with me as maybe I talk out what's going through my mind so I can come to a deeper understanding. And I have so many people in my life and have had people in my life that have given me the opportunity to do that, and I hope that I also have been able to provide that for other people. I have a friend in Colorado. We were together for a short period of time in a teacher-student relationship. I was her teacher, and we became very close. She's an amazing creative person, and we have such a strong telepathic relationship that, I mean, we haven't seen each other in years. Sometimes we don't talk for many months at a time, and I'll think about her and send her a text, and she'll say, "I just had a dream about you last night." And that happens very often. So I have no doubt in my mind that we are connected mentally and telepathically on a soul level, even though physically we don't spend that much time together. I do want to say that sometimes I think it's kind of heartbreaking to me that people hold back on their love because they're afraid of being rejected. And we all get rejected. It's not the worst thing in the world. I mean, to me, the worst thing in the world is that we don't express our love. So I was kind of thinking through this message, and I had a funny experience, not funny haha, but funny ironic. So there's somebody who I know, we were in a class together, an online class that was pretty intense, like 2 or 3 year class. She ended up leaving before I did. And then we met in person at a conference. And so we don't know each other very well. She has a Facebook group, and so occasionally I interact on the Facebook group. So she put a post on Facebook and said, "I have 4 Valentines." And I know from knowing her and from her interactions on Facebook, these 4 Valentines are her cats. And she's kind of proud of being single and, you know, not really wanting to be in a relationship, which is fine. So I happened to have a Valentine card that I was going to send to my sister, who has a cat who she adores. And I love cards. I love when I get cards from River and Polly. It always makes my day, my week, my month. So anyway, this card had 2 cats on it, and you lifted it up and it was a pop-up, and you pulled the thing, and you know, the cats moved around. It was adorable, and I thought, I'm going to send this to her. You know, I haven't seen her in years, but she has these cats. She loves these cats. I know she moved from the time we were in the class together, so I sent her a Facebook message, and I said, "Hi, how are you doing? Can you send me your address? I have something I want to send to you." And she sends me back this question mark. And I said, "It's Laurel. Remember, we were in the Institute for Dream Study class together." And she, next thing I know, on my Facebook timeline, there's this big message from her that said, "You've been hacked." And I thought, oh my God. So I took that off and I sent her a message and I said, I'm sorry if I aroused your suspicions. I have this card, I want to send it to you, but I'll take a picture of it and send you the picture instead, because I knew she was not going to give me her address. So, you know, I'm thinking she'll say, oh, how thoughtful of you, oh, how kind of you, oh, I'm so sorry, but she didn't. She said, well, you have to be suspicious these days because there's so many hackers. And so I thought, okay, here I was trying to have this, whatever it's called, Ludus, playful, affectionate love, sending her this cute little card, and not only does she not want it, but she's, you know, telling me I'm a hacker, but, you know, that's not going to make me not send cards to people. I just won't try to send a card to her. So I have some homework for you. I don't know if any of you have heard this advice, maybe you've practiced this advice, that if you're wanting to draw a partner into your life, you make a list of them, you know, all the things that you want in that other person. And to me, that always seems kind of strange. It's kind of like, I'm going to make this voodoo doll that's going to have all of these things that I want. And I don't make people, but I can make myself. So what I do is to make a list of all of the qualities in me that I want to express. Like, I like to be affectionate, I like to be playful, I like to give people unexpected gifts, I like to be kind, I like to be trusting and accepting. So the homework I have for you is to make a list of all of the things in you that are dear to your soul, that you really want to express, so that then you can express that with anyone in your life. You know, you don't have to limit it to just your mate if you're in a coupled relationship. You can express those qualities with anyone, everyone. And that's what I believe enables us to really grow in love and become closer to our source.